Our team has been given the task to establish a system that can present information on both current and graduated students. We often find systems from universities that records information on students lack user-friendliness and a clean interface. This project's aim is to propose a system that fulfills the following criteria: low cost, easy to maintain, user-friendly, clean and well-designed interface. Database connection is the connection between the database server and its user software as shown in the figure A. The user uses the database connection to send command to database server and receive the reply from the database server. The connection from PHP to DBMS can be done with some methods such as ODBC, ADODB, PARDB, or PDO. To improve database, there are a set of tasks that are all run with the intention that are called database maintenance. It is required to speed up performance, free up disk space and check for data error. When a database is altered, it is obviously observed that the records no longer reflect the reality, especially for the case of database deterioration. Websites are prone to security risk. A research found that roughly 2 to 5% from millions of websites have some indicator of compromise, IOC, that indicates a hack. To improve the password security, SSL encryption is used. SSL is a security protocol. It determines variable of the encryption of the data to be transmitted. The administration subsystem provides a basis web content tuning. It lets us decide who can use, update and delete information, back up the data of the database and recover the database when there is a failure. Administrator can easily modify the contents of some HTML pages because they are supplied from the database. To start, we will use USM Electrical and Electronic Engineering's existing official website. When new students enroll in USMPPKE, they will have to register themselves by clicking the Login button at the home page. After that, they will be directed to an online registration form, where their details will be collected. This is the proposed online registration form that will be used to collect student details. Please pause the video for a better view on the form. After the students has filled in their details in the form, we need a platform that will store all the data in order for users to access later. Our proposed system will use a program written in PHP to extract, upload and store the details into our database. PHP is a server-side scripting language designed for web development but also used as a general-purpose programming language. This short clip demonstrates the overall idea of the PHP script that will be used to upload and store data to our database. We will now explain briefly on setting up our server with XAMPP server software and linking to our database.
Okay, now this is where we store our data in our website server. Beginning, we are using XAMPP software to connect our database that is reside in the server. So by pressing this button, we can connect to our login to our database server, which is the PHP my admin over here. Okay, we are using XAMPP software to connect the database in our server to our computer. Okay, starting up. Okay, from here, right, you can see that there's a lot of table of data, and we're going to click EE379, which is our student data is located inside. Okay, this is our table. We can browse it. Okay, from here, right, you can see all the data regarding students. Okay, and we see the list of students which is now currently studying in USM, and those that have already graduated, okay, which is over here. Okay, so our data is updated simultaneously when students register through the portal of our online registration form that has shown earlier. In this PHP my admin, the admin itself has the total privilege to control the data, which means that you can see all the data in here. For example, their names, their IC, their matrix number, and their program and their status. And the admin can choose to filter or to sort according to their data, according to what data he want to see. And if students face any problems regarding, like for example, incorrect data or loss of username and password, the admin also can edit and delete the data accordingly to the student request.
Subsequently, we will explain the hardware descriptions and hosting services that the system will be using.
For the hardware description part, the hardware we will be using is the server and the students' computer, phones, and tablet. So mainly the focus of our hardware description will be on the server itself because it's containing our data and all our things that inside. So what is the specification of server that we will be using? Okay, let's start. Okay, for if we are going to host our website in HostGator, a main company in hosting website, HostGator to provide a few server that we can choose from. The main specification server that we use, where we plan to use, is the Intel Xenon R E52630 is the server that is created by the Intel. Why does we use this? Does we choose this server? Is because um, in this server, the specification for this server is that it's using DDR4 as the RAM, random access memory, which has 128 gigabytes, and for the storage is using RAID 1, which is the redundant array independent disk. RAID 1 means that it has a mirror disk that duplicates the info in the disk itself, so that in case there is some error occurs, it can recover back the data. So there is 4 RAID 1 uh, disks in the server. Each of them is 1.8 terabytes, and times 4 you get 7.2 terabytes. And for this server, right, this hosting plan, it has 100 megabits per second of uploading speed. So we will look into the processor specification for it. So for the processor specification, this is the Intel Xenon processor E52630 version 3, which the processor that we'll be using in the server itself. So for this processor, the cache memory is 20 megabytes, and there is a quick path interconnect links of 2. The instruction set is using 64-bit long, and for this processor, it has 8 cores to function, and you can create multi per threads, which is 16, and the cycle frequency for it running the instruction will be 2.4 gigahertz. And for this server, is using the PCIe 3.0, which is the latest, I believe. And the PCI configuration lane that has 4 and 8 and 16. These are 3 types of different lane that we can use in the server. And the PCI express lane, which is 40, means that there is 20 for output and 20 for input, which are bidirectional. So this mainly conclude our part for the hardware description.
To ensure the constant uptime of the system, the server must be operating for 24 hours daily. As a result, the power consumption for maintaining the server must be taken into consideration. An estimate of power consumption at any specific processor utilization can be calculated if power consumption at maximum performance and at idle are known, using the following formula. A server has a maximum power draw of 400 watts and an idle power draw of 200 watts. Then at 25% utilization the power draw would approximate to 250 watts. Running at average utilization for a 24 hours period, then the energy usage would equate to 6,000 watt-hours. For further estimation, we consider the usage of an uninterruptible power supply, UPS, to make sure that the server will not shut down in the event of a power cut. Based on our calculations, we conclude that an 800 volt ampere uninterruptible power supply is the most suitable. UPS needs to be charged prior to emergency usage, and we are using 800 VA UPS, therefore the maximum power supply is 800 with VA. Note that the 800 VA UPS used can only last 2 hours running the server during a power cut. For a higher capacity UPS, a higher value VA is needed. The model shown above is quite suitable, as it has more than 800 VA output power supply. This guarantees more than 2 hours of availability. This is a list of all the costs it takes to maintain our system. This includes the domain name of our website, hosting fee, server fee, and UPS. Also considered are the electric bill and the monthly fee to our internet service provider. After factoring in the continued website maintenance cost, we are able to calculate the total cost for operating in the first month, which is 1,296 ringgit, while the total operation cost for the subsequent months is 447 ringgit. In terms of cost, the system is expected to run without much costing issues, as per our previously calculated costing per month. Thus the system is considered sustainable. In terms of traffic to the website is expected to be moderate for most of the time for checking and updating information. However, high traffic is anticipated during the start of every academic year, where new students are all required to register themselves. The traffic is especially high for USM School of Electrical and Electronic Engineering, due to the high amount of new intakes the school receives every academic year. In terms of integration, since the web system is expected to experience low amounts of traffic for most of the time, a potential improvement would be to extend the system for other functions beside registration. For instance, the system can be used to support e-learning or PPKE's official website, where all the resources are integrated into one single system. If such integration is implemented, students will be able to register courses online, access lecture materials, check the latest articles and updates from PPKE and more in only one system. Merging all the resources into one system also makes it easier to administrate and manage effectively. The following table displays the distribution of tasks for each of our group member. These are the references that we use for research in order to complete this project. Please click on the annotation on the screen to be directed to the URL. These are the journals which we studied prior to working on this project. And this concludes our presentation for the project. Thank you for watching.